Chosen one, stop. Don't scroll. Don't multitask. If you leave now, you will miss a moment that does not repeat. What you're hearing right now is not random, and the fact that you're still here already says more about you than you realize. This message isn't something you casually listen to in the background. It demands your full attention, because while this was being prepared, something about you surfaced that forced everything to go quiet. Not long ago, you did something. It wasn't planned. It wasn't calculated. You weren't trying to prove anything or impress anyone. It came straight out of who you are at your core. And you had no idea that, in that instant, you triggered a reaction far beyond what your physical eyes can see. Something shifted. Something responded. Your attitude did not go unnoticed. Not in a symbolic way. Not in a poetic way. In a way that caused heaven to pause. In a way that drew focused attention, because what you demonstrated was not supposed to come from someone who has endured what you've endured. Not from someone with your history. Not from someone carrying that kind of weight. Not from someone who had every reason, every justification to react differently. But you didn't. And that decision, that internal posture, is the reason this moment exists right now. This is why you're hearing these words. This is why leaving early would cost you clarity you've been searching for without knowing how to name it. Stay, because what caused that pause in heaven reframes every struggle you thought was meaningless, every quiet battle you won with no witnesses, every moment you assumed didn't matter. There is a specific reason attention was drawn to you, and it connects to something that has already begun unfolding, even if you can't fully see it yet. Some of you have felt it, a shift. Like an invisible line was crossed and there's no going back to who you were. Before anything else can make sense, there's one thing you need to understand, and I'm not going to explain it yet. This is the moment most people miss, and if you turn away now, you'll miss it again. What's unfolding here wasn't meant for everyone, and it's not happening by accident. You're hearing this because something already set you apart, and the fact that you're still listening is proof you sensed it before you understood it. In the unseen realms, countless lives are observed every moment. Patterns are tracked. Responses are expected. Human behavior is usually predictable. Pain produces bitterness. Betrayal produces revenge. Injustice produces anger. These reactions have repeated themselves for thousands of years. So often they barely register anymore. But every so often, rarely a soul responds in a way that breaks the pattern. You did that. It happened not long ago. In one of your hardest moments, a situation that felt tailor-made to exhaust you, a weight that made getting through another day feel unreasonable. Anyone watching your life would have understood if you had collapsed, withdrawn, or reflected back the darkness aimed at you. But you didn't. And understand this clearly. This isn't about endurance. Plenty of people survive out of habit, fear, or lack of alternatives. That doesn't stop heaven. What you did went beyond survival. You stood in a moment where bitterness was justified, where anger made sense, where resentment had evidence on its side. The harm was real. The offense wasn't imagined. The wound had a name and a cause. And still, when everything in you had permission to strike back or at least shut down, something deeper took over. A quieter decision. One that didn't make noise, but carried weight. You chose grace when destruction would have felt earned. You might remember the moment. A sentence you didn't say, a truth you could have exposed but didn't, a door you could have closed forever, with full approval, yet you stayed. You held the line when no one would have blamed you for letting go. That exact instant, that one is when attention shifted, because what you revealed wasn't weakness, it was composition. It showed that your responses aren't owned by your circumstances, that your character doesn't rise and fall based on how others treat you, that who you are remains intact under pressure. Most people react. They reflect their environment. Treat them well, they soften. Treat them poorly, they harden. Their identity changes with the weather of their lives. But you showed something else. You showed that your character is anchored somewhere deeper, that no pain, no betrayal, no unfair situation can force you to become someone you refuse to be, and that is what stopped everything. Why it mattered as much as it did. That part hasn't been revealed yet. Before continuing, pause for a moment. If this message has touched your heart, take a breath and allow yourself to be fully present right here. First, please take a moment to like this video so this message can reach those who truly need guidance today. Second, You are invited to subscribe not just to a channel, but to a growing flow of messages meant for you. As we're moving toward 10,000 subscribers, your connection helps ensure these words continue reaching the right hearts at the right time. Third, take a moment to write 999 or 777 inches, the comments, as your personal declaration, and share your city and where you are listening from. Let this be a quiet but meaningful sign between you and the Lord. Lord, I am the one you came to find. I embrace the transformation you are leading me into. And if this message has blessed you, and you feel led and able, you may send a super thanks as a way of saying deepest thanks, helping these words reach others who are searching for hope, direction, and truth. Amen. Let me draw you into the instant this was seen, not measured by clocks or calendars, but within the constant watching that surrounds those who are chosen. Your guardian angel had been observing your unfolding situation, noting your outward decisions and the battles no one else could hear. This is normal for lives under protection, but when you chose grace instead of justified anger, something uncommon happened. Your file was marked for higher review. That step is rare. Most matters never leave the guardian's authority. Escalation only happens when something appears that must be witnessed by higher ranks. Your case was sent upward, directly to Archangel oversight. When it reached Michael, he was engaged in matters that shape entire regions beyond human sight. Conflicts in unseen realms, movements with lasting consequence. Yet when your file appeared, he stopped. One line attached to your record demanded attention. This soul demonstrated enemy-level forgiveness while under active attack. Enemy-level forgiveness. In the language of the unseen, responses to pain are classified. Most fall into familiar forms: bitterness, retaliation, withdrawal, despair. These are expected. They follow old patterns and require no pause. But there is another category, rare, almost never activated. It is the response that echoes, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." This is what happens when hatred is met with love, while the wound is still open. When blessing is chosen in the presence of harm. Scripture has always whispered of it, as when Joseph stood before those who betrayed him and said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." That is the frequency you touched. Your response crossed a threshold. Michael examined your recent path, every pressure point, every unseen struggle, every moment you held your ground without recognition. And what he saw led him to request something extraordinary, a direct audience. Understand the weight of that. Michael commands hosts. His focus spans realms. For him to pause over one human life means that life revealed a depth most never reach. What was discussed next altered how your path will be handled from here on. And now you are standing at the edge of what was decided. Michael brought your case before the divine council not as a failure to correct, not as a crisis to intervene in, but as living evidence that something rare was unfolding on the earth. He revealed the precise instant you chose grace. He opened the record of your inner conflict, showing how your human instincts pulled one way while something deeper in you chose another. Then he revealed your history. That single moment was not an exception. It was a thread, a pattern of choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, of staying true when compromise would have gone unseen, of offering kindness where none was owed and none was guaranteed to return. That pattern caused recognition. You had been walking as one who was chosen long before you knew you were. Not because of one heroic act, but because of quiet faithfulness repeated without applause, without reward, without certainty it mattered. You chose what was right simply because it was right, again and again. When it was simple, and when it cost you deeply. This is what separates common paths from destined ones. And then God spoke not in sound, but in unmistakable knowing. What was said was not opinion or metaphor. It was declaration. This one reminds me why I created humans. Let that reach you. The one who formed galaxies, who set matter and time into motion, looked at the way you lived under pressure, your integrity, your grace under fire, and recognized something angels cannot embody. Angels dwell in constant awareness of divine reality. Their obedience is shaped by sight. Their faithfulness is sustained by proximity. But humans live behind a veil. You do not see. You do not hear clearly. You do not feel confirmation before choosing. And still, you chose well. You chose faith without proof, integrity without reward, love without assurance it would matter. You walked forward without sight, held steady without sound, loved without feedback. That is what astonishes heaven. That is what caused Michael to linger over your life. That is what stirred the heart of God. You revealed the singular gift placed within human souls, the power to choose light in darkness, faith in doubt, love in pain. And now you need to understand why even Michael did not expect this to come from you. When Michael first reviewed your record months ago, nothing appeared urgent. Your gifts were clear, your calling was noted, your potential was undeniable. His projection placed your growth on a familiar path, more time, more refinement, more visible victories, more confirmation that would make belief easier. What he did not anticipate was this. He did not expect you to display advanced spiritual authority while still standing in one of your hardest seasons. Because what you did in that moment, choosing grace over justified anger, was not merely virtuous. It was a direct strike, a calculated disruption. Every assault against a chosen one carries a purpose, to pull you down into reaction, to bend your inner posture toward bitterness, to draw you onto ground where opposition gains leverage. When hatred is returned with hatred, when injury is answered with injury, alignment shifts and protection thins. That was the aim against you. But you refused the exchange. When you answered darkness with love, you didn't absorb the attack. You reversed it. You turned the force meant to weaken you into something that could not stay attached. What was sent toward you lost its target. In the unseen order of things, energy does not vanish, it returns. What was aimed to break you could not land and did not remain neutral. Michael watched this with stunned clarity, because this wasn't a trained response. It wasn't technique. It wasn't something you practiced. It rose from your nature. Grace surfaced without rehearsal. Forgiveness emerged without calculation. Love answered where resistance was expected. That is what surprised him. He knew the capacity was there. He did not expect you to access it so early, under so much pressure, with so little reinforcement. You moved faster than the projected timeline. You crossed a threshold ahead of schedule. And here is what matters now. You have already felt the effects of this shift. Subtle changes, unexplained reversals, a loosening where pressure once remained. Things that should have escalated, didn't. You weren't imagining it. Now it's time to understand what that response set in motion and why it cannot be undone. Now look at the evidence. It's already around you. Attacks haven't just failed. They've turned back. Think about the last few weeks. People who aimed harm your way. Words spoken against you. Quiet moves made to block you. Watch what followed. Their lives began to fracture. Situations they controlled slipped. Momentum stalled without explanation. This is not chance, and it's not ordinary cause and effect. This is protection activating in real time. When a soul gains divine attention, the covering thickens. What was sent to weaken you could not stay attached. It reversed. You may have noticed this and stayed silent, unsure why those opposing you keep unraveling. Now you know. Second sign, peace found you in places where panic should have ruled, moments where pressure should have crushed you, yet it didn't. The storm stayed loud, but something inside you stayed still. Not because the problem vanished, but because calm was placed within you. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That isn't poetry, it's posture. And it's been holding you steady. This peace was given. It doesn't match your circumstances, because it didn't come from them. Third sign, your clarity is sharpening. Confusion is lifting. Choices that once felt tangled are untangling themselves. Direction is forming where fog used to sit. You're knowing things before you can explain how you know them. Quiet certainty, sudden understanding, insight that proves true after the fact. This is guidance increasing, not loud, not dramatic, but precise. Fourth sign, people and situations have been leaving without a fight. Relationships that drained you dissolved. Obstacles moved out of the way. Doors closed that you didn't force shut. You didn't argue. You didn't chase. Things simply shifted. This is not loss. This is alignment. Heaven reorganizes before it advances. What no longer fits where you're going cannot stay where you are. Don't reach back for what's already being removed. Space is being cleared. And now the fifth sign, you feel it. A quiet anticipation you can't explain, a sense of nearness, like something is approaching and you're standing right at the edge of it. This isn't imagination, it's awareness. Your spirit is registering what your mind hasn't fully caught up to yet. Something is coming, and it's directly tied to what was just recognized about you. Now it's time to tell you what has been set in motion for your future. When God spoke over your soul and said you reminded him why humanity was created, something shifted in the unseen. That recognition activated a rare response in heaven. Acceleration. Under ordinary paths, those who are chosen move slowly. Preparation stretches across years. Growth unfolds in stages. Purpose reveals itself piece by piece. But acceleration changes the order. It means heaven has seen enough. Your character shortened the process. What others require time to become, you've already shown. Because of that, what was scheduled for later is being pulled forward. What was meant for another season is being released now. Doors once marked "not yet" are opening early. You've already noticed it. Movement where there was delay. Breakthrough where there was resistance. Progress that arrived sooner than expected. This is only increasing. Acceleration also reshapes opposition. Resistance isn't just slowed, it's removed. Certain conflicts won't return. Certain battles won't repeat. Forces that once pressed against you have been reassigned. The friction that normally shapes growth has lifted. You're stepping into a stretch of uncommon favor, not because of performance, because of alignment. But hear this clearly, this elevation isn't only about you. When heaven moves a life forward this quickly, it's because that life is meant to touch others. The grace you chose under pressure was never meant to stop with you. It was meant to travel. You're about to cross paths with people standing where you once stood. People caught at the same crossroads, people deciding whether to harden or to rise. And without speeches or explanations, your life will answer their question. Your presence will speak. Your steadiness will reassure. Your path will prove what's possible. As it is written, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, not because you try to shine, but because light reveals itself. What awakened in you now awakens others. Your story will unlock recognition in those ready to see. Your transformation will become permission for someone else's. This is why heaven moved so decisively, not because you needed more, but because through you, many will. The quality that caught God's attention has settled into you. The grace that surprised heaven now lives in your nature, and it will multiply in every life close enough to encounter it. Let me tell you what was written in Michael's final record of your case. When a soul reaches Archangel review, it is given a name, not a title for honor, but a designation that reflects its true nature. That name follows the soul forward. It becomes how heaven recognizes them. Yours was recorded as demonstrated warrior of light, not imagined, not assumed, demonstrated. This matters. Many are called warriors in potential. Few are proven in real conditions. Your designation isn't based on what you could become one day. It's anchored in what you already lived, what you chose when the cost was real. A warrior does not stand on the sidelines. A warrior moves into the field. You didn't just agree with truth, you carried it. You didn't just admire the light, you advanced it into places that resisted it. And the phrase of light is everything. Some fight from anger. It works, but it burns out. Some fight from obligation. It lasts, but it lacks force. But to fight from light, to move from love, grace, and goodness, this is the highest ground. You met darkness and did not mirror it. You answered pressure by becoming clearer. You responded to harm by increasing light. That is why your response carried such weight. From this point forward, this designation follows you. It's how your life is read in the unseen. It reshapes how support is assigned, how resistance is handled, how provision flows. Not because you are greater than others, but because you've shown you can carry more without losing yourself. Heaven entrusts more to those who remain whole under strain. You are now recognized as someone who can stand in intensity without being consumed by it. Someone who can move forward without becoming what opposed them. And this is not the end of what was written. There was one final message recorded set aside specifically for you, and you're ready to hear it. When the review of your life reached its end, when the decision was sealed and the course of your future was set in motion, something rare was added to your record. A letter, not symbolic, not ceremonial. A mark of recognition. This is not given to every soul. It is reserved for lives that prove something. Lives whose pain, collapse, and endurance reveal a depth of divine strength that cannot be taught, only awakened. Your suffering was not overlooked. Your breaking was not wasted. Your trials were not signs of weakness. They were evidence. Evidence that something powerful was forming inside you. The message written over you did not speak of correction, but of expansion. It declared that what you endured and how you endured it stretched what heaven itself expects from humanity. You were not surviving by instinct. You were choosing by design. And in doing so, you revealed that the limits